So we're just going to literally tell bad beat stories.
Yep.
You want to start, or what's your worst beat? You know my worst beat. My baddest beat.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was thinking on the drive here about bad beats. And the one this football season with the San Fran scoring twice in
Okay, tell us about that one. So you bet on who were they playing against?
It was the under in the Atlanta San Fran game, week
15? Yeah, I was going to say it was 15.
It was Kings Hall. We were at the Kings Hall event. It was in December. And
it's a Rockstar, by the way, not beer.
I like it.
Yep.
I read some terrible review about Rockstar and how it takes 6 weeks to flush it out of your system, and you need to drink 9 gallons of water. And,
it's probably true.
Yeah, maybe I
drink 4 a day.
You're right. So
this week's podcast brought to you by Rockstar, sugar-free.
So I don't remember the exact number. All I know is we had 11 or 12 points to spare with 6 seconds left in the game.
And how did they end up actually screwing it up?
4th and 3, Atlanta scores a touchdown, kicks the extra point with
49ers score on a fourth.
Atlanta.
Okay,
Atlanta scores to take the lead.
I gotcha.
With 2 seconds left on 4th and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then San Fran kicks it off, the last play of the game, kickoff. You know how usually, honestly, 80% of the kickoffs go into the
end zone. Comes back to the 25-yard line.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Time.
Whatever. And then, so San Fran receives the kick. They do the old lateral, try to Music City Miracle it, and they fumble, and then
Atlanta picks
it up, and scores again. So with 6 seconds left, they need to score twice, and there was only going to be either 1 or 2 plays left in the game.
So they literally needed to
go score.
Fourth and third score.
Touchdown.
Get the kickoff.
Leave time left on the clock.
Right.
Somehow
get San Francisco to come out and try to lateral this thing, which they do.
Get the fumble.
And actually
then have
score.
The guy go and score. Because, usually it's the end of the game. You fall on the fumble, it's game over.
All right, why would they score? Not really supposed to happen.
Yeah, but they kept going backwards. It was like he almost recovered the fumble in the end zone. That's a pretty bad beat.
It's a pretty bad beat.
And I've seen a lot of bad beats.
What'd that cost you?
$1,500.
That's not too bad.
It goes from a win to a loss, so it's really like
a $3,000 swing. Right, because you went from winning $1,500 to losing $1,500.
$1,650.
Yeah, you're right. It's like a 4K swing, right?
You're right. All the way up to a 4K.
Yeah, it's good. I'm rounding. This is how bad beats work, though. This is the mentality of poker players. You really ultimately lost $1,500.
Right.
You had to pay out of pocket $1,650.
Right.
So you lost $1,650.
Correct.
But in your mind, in the mind of the gambler, you didn't lose $1,600. We've just now justified a $4,000 loser.
Loss. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
This is what I love about poker.
Right.
It's the best in no other industry. It's not
realm
like
of the world.
It's not like if you go to a bar and you buy a drink at a fancy bar in Chicago, it's $9 for a vodka, whatever, and they used well, and you're getting screwed.
Yep.
But the bartender's hot, and you pay it, and you want to be in this club,
and
you turn around and you spill it.
Right.
In your mind, you don't go, man, I just lost $25.
Correct.
No, you go, shit, I lost $9.
$10.
But on the plus side, you're like, but I get to talk to the bartender again. So it's like a win-win. There's some positive EV in there.
Right.
However, with your 49ers Falcons scenario,
we turned $1,550
into a 4K loser.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Easy.
That's how it goes. I'll tell you my worst beat, which I thought you knew. So the first year that
this is the one I thought it was.
So the first year that the WSOP came to the Horseshoe, it was 2008 or 9.
I don't know.
Could have been 8 because they opened in 8. We just had to
August.
explain to somebody, they're like, how do you know the Horseshoe opened? I was like, because they opened on 08 of 08. It's pretty easy to remember. And the guy's like, man, you guys remember the exact day it opened?
He
And I
was
was like,
impressed.
Well, I mean, I would have remembered it if it was July 23rd of whatever, but still.
Right.
So it had to have been October the next year. So they've been open almost a year. They're doing the World Series. The circuit events are coming out. This is right when the circuit events were really starting to become like a thing, right? Like before it was just the World Series was the World Series, and now they're doing these circuit events. And
the circuit events didn't really matter as much. The rings weren't prestigious.
No, it was not. That was, that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's 10 years ago because that's 2009 is my best guess. But anyways, they ended up doing a $2,500 PLO event.
Which
is
nowadays
sick.
would be crazy town.
Oh, yeah. No rebuys. It was 2,500. I don't think there was this is pre-re-entry, which we will talk about in the podcast, probably episode 2.
Right.
The re-entry debacle, which is a great title. It is. So it's no re-entry. It's 2,500. They don't really call it freeze out. It's just you only get one bullet. Right. But 2,500 is a big bullet. So I sit down. There's like maybe 30 people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not a huge tournament. It's a $2,500 PLO event on a circuit. This is kind of and it's not a big deal. I mean, it's kind of a random.
It's not like people are flying in to play this.
Correct. It's me and
good Chicago
Jason and John, the twins, are the only 2 guys I knew. Maybe 1 or 2 other PLO guys I knew, and then a bunch of European guys that I didn't understand or know.
Right.
Which was great. Said random European guy comes up, he's like, "Do you want to be in the $1,000 lust out?" And I was like, "Yes, here, sure. Please, random European stranger, take my $1,000, and I hope I get to hear from you again." Fast forward 12 hours later, because this is a one-day event, we get down to 5 players. Now, with only 30 people in the tournament, I think they paid out top 4. So we're on the legit money bubble, and everybody's pretty even. One guy's got maybe a slight advantage. Maybe he's got 30% of chips in play. Mm-hmm. I've got maybe 13% of chips in play. So like
and everybody else is
right about that 20% mark. So I'm really the slightly smaller dog. But again, I have 13% of chips in play to his 27, to everybody else's 20. Like, this is not a big deal. So everybody's in the last out. Which was like a $20K pot in that. Mm-hmm. And then the prize pool, I don't remember exactly what it was, but Bert, my brother, figured out because he's sweating with me hardcore on the rail.
Yeah.
Because this is 2009, so, you know, this is a big fat win.
Right.
And I think the straight chop 5 ways, including the last outs, was like $15K a guy. And for me in 2009, $15K was like it was a ton.
It's a good chunk.
Yeah, like I had put all my bankroll when I had a bankroll and actually played and tried to do it. Like, this was everything.
Yeah.
This was a big swing. And sure enough, guys, like, we get 4 guys to agree. Myself, obviously, is agreeing. 3 other guys agree. And the one guy who's got the slight chip lead's like, nah, I don't want to do it. He's kind of being a dick about it. Now, he's sitting to my right. The button is approaching us. So the very next hand, it's going to be small blind, big blind, him small blind, me big blind.
Yep.
And he's like, all right, kid, I'll tell you this. Everybody folds to us. We'll just get it in there. If you win, we'll chop it. If you lose, you're out.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. Okay.
That's pretty sick.
Sure enough, I don't know if I wanted everybody to fold or not, but it goes fold, gets to him, and he just goes pot. And I'm like, pot. Okay, dealer's like, all right, everybody's all in. Mm-hmm. You know, flip over your cards. He's got 4, 7, jack. Like, just random thing. But he does have a pair of 4s. I kid you not. I have like ace, king, queen, 9 or something. Now, we weren't sharing any cards. So I don't remember if I yelled 9 the first time or not.
Right.
But, I mean, I've got like double suits, all big cards. Yep. This is great. I flop a massive draw. It's like, you know, whatever it is. But I flop a straight draw, turn a flush draw, plus all of my overs are good. Literally every card in my hand is good for a pair. Any face card, I get a straight. Any diamond, I win.
Just bricks?
Bricks. 4s are good.
4s hold.
And I'm out. And they chop it 4 ways. 4 ways.
And the last out.
And the last outs.
And that's it.
3,500 winners. So but again, mentality of the gambler, I didn't lose 3,500. I lost 15K. Yeah. So it was the biggest legitimate flip I've ever done. So it's not so much a bad beat story, because it's really not a bad. I mean, it is a bad beat. I'm the statistical winner there,
right.
But yeah, I flipped for 15K and lost. Sucks.
It does suck.
I've also lost every coin flip in the Super Bowl in the last like 6 years.
Well, those are tough.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
Right, you're paying juice.
So I love it. Bad beat stories. We were going to talk about when is the right time to tell a bad beat story? Like, I just told my like legit.
Rarely.
Remember when was there a bad beat story booth at the World Series one time.
This was way at the
My
beginning.
dad had the best response. Guys like, Ken Senior, come over. Man, I had ace king, and this guy had 7-4 off. My dad's like, hang on. Hey, give me $1. Guy goes, why would I give you $1? 'Cause I ain't gonna listen to your story unless you give me
free.
$1. Which is great. So when is the best time? Is it like now when you're just shooting and telling
kind of.
people like, oh, can you believe this happened?
Like doing it in the moment, like walking, busting out of a tournament and coming over and telling somebody a bad beat story.
So you back a few people in tournaments, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Stake horsing, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Staking other players.
Yep.
How often do you want to actually listen to the bad beat story of your horse who just got busted in a big fat tournament and he wants to tell you this awful bad beat story? Is it like a way for you to commiserate with one another and be like, oh, yeah, it's so sad? Or is it just like, shut up, I don't care?
No. I like to hear.
You want to hear it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to hear how other people bust when I don't have an invested interest in it.
A vested interest, you want to know.
But, I like to hear how my horses get busted.
Nice.
Until they start it with like, man, I raised the 7-6 suited, and I'm just like, oh boy. Like, I don't even want to hear the rest of it after you say you raised the 7. Like, I want to hear, I had aces, got it in. And I'm like, okay, I feel good. But whenever it starts with, I had the 7-5 on the button and I raised, I don't like those bad beat stories.
You don't like those bad beat stories? Do you find that bad beat stories progress as you get into higher stakes? Meaning, like, a guy like you does not want to hear about a $20 early bird tournament bad beat. Be like, I was at the final table of the bird and this happened.
Yes.
Right? Versus, like, the bird players don't want to hear about free poker players telling you at the bar last night you got it in with Queens versus Jackson. This guy called off a 4-bet and the blah, blah, blah. And you're like, it's free poker.
And
like,
the guys that play the 1600s don't want to hear about the guy in the $100.
Us playing a 580 event.
Right. Or even a 3-hour, 360 or 100.
Right, where we're like, man, that's like top
Right.
CCG kind of stuff.
Right. They're like, it's a 365, man.
360, yeah, who cares?
Like, who cares?
Right?
Yeah.
And then guys who play 510, there's always somebody out there that plays a bigger limit that's like, who cares?
Right, who cares?
How much was that actually for?
Yeah.
It's all relative to the gambler,
Yeah.
even though we all have a bad beat story to tell.
Plus, there's a lot of bad, like you always say, like, didn't you want him to do that?
So, yeah, that is always my response, because we do hear a lot of bad beat stories just being in a poker room 3 days a week.
And being around, yeah.
Yeah.
We're honestly the first people that kind of people walk over to
Right.
when they're out of a tournament.
You're just walking by.
Just walk out like,
listen to this.
Listen to this.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't have a choice.
Right.
And
Most of the time.
and then I always, after they get done, and I always tell the person, they're like super mad or upset. And I'm always like, don't you want him to call there with nothing but 2 outs? And granted, your tournament life's on the line, but he's got 2 outs.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right. These are slam
I mean, these
spots.
are slam dunk. Right. If you knew he had 7-5 and all he had was a gut shot to a 4 and 2 of the 4s were already burned.
Like, please call.
Right. You'd be screaming, please call. Right. But it's after the fact the 4 actually came, and now you're like, can't believe the guy does that.
Yeah.
So I actually want to do something else too, because let's take that exact scenario. Guy's got a gut shot. He's maybe bluffing. Whatever happens, he goes all in. The problem I always have too is the bad beat stories. The actual absolute worst time to tell a bad beat story is in the moment of the tournament. We all know you're upset. We all know you've lost. It's the player who stands up. They're looking at their cards. They're looking at you, looking at their cards, looking at you. Like, clearly he's got a straight. We all know it.
Yep.
I know it sucks. You probably had a set. Whatever. You were good. He's now good. Muck your hand, and let's move on to the tournament. There are still 8 other people who had nothing to do with this scenario,
Right.
this massacre that you are so upset about.
Yeah. And everybody thinks
Don't
that they're
bad beat.
owed the
No,
time.
you are not. You are stealing time from the tournament. It is time theft. Just
agree.
like those people when they say there's, like, if you go to the water cooler for too long at work and you're stealing time from the company.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Can't do that. You're stealing time from the other
I
players
did
in the
that a
tournament.
lot. I stole a lot of time from my first job.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
$6.10 an hour though. Maybe they were stealing from me, really.
But I used to pick the range at Chicago Golf Club. I would go out and I'd have to clean pick, which means you pick up like every golf ball out there. Like normally if you're just going to pick the range, you just pick a bunch, get enough range balls to bring it in so people can continue to hit range balls. Although this place is like ghost town, so I don't know why anybody was worried about running out of range balls. But we had to clean pick the range. Normally you do this once a week, maybe once every, couple times a month.
Okay.
You legit go out there with like little hand pickers and you go out in like the weeds and wherever the outskirts of this range is, and you get every nugget out there. And the guy's like, hey, kid, go out and clean pick the range. I was like, you got it, sir. 16-year-old Kenny gets in the cart, drives all the way to the back. This little like tree area. It was shady. It's July. It's a perfect summer day. And I fell asleep in a range cart for like an hour and a half.
Nice.
I mean, it was great. Nice. And that place was never very busy, so nobody nobody even came close to finding me. That's a non-bad beat story. What's the opposite of a
run good?
A run good story?
A run good story? Yeah.
Nobody ever tells the bad beat story from the other guy's point of view. We should coin some kind of phrase.
Yeah. Whenever I put on a bad beat on somebody, I always like think I owe it to it, or like I'm owed it. So it's like, hey, you justify like, no, I had ace queen, he had ace king, I flopped a queen. What am I gonna do?
It's funny on
from the other way around.
At Sunday at Tavern on the Grange, Amy got knocked out of the 300 black chip bounty, and I was like, oh, it's too bad, stinks. She got fourth or whatever it was, but they had like chopped out, so it was fine. She still made money in the tournament. She's like, yeah, I was running so good, and just my cards went dead. I was like, oh, I hate when that happens. She's like, however, she's like, I had queens versus kings, and I spiked the queen, so
I feel all right.
I feel pretty good about it. So I mean, it was nice that you gotta remember. We only remember that last bad beat that knocked you out of the tournament or put you down out of the cash game. We don't remember all of those times where we were the guy or the girl who had the gut shot to the 4, spikes it, wins a huge pot, and it's like, pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, I think
trademarked by Chicago Charitable Games.
Oh, actually, I was
trying to do
like
it.
A Sonic the Hedgehog
Pew Pew
coming out.
Oh yeah,
and he's like a pew 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 pew.
Oh, we got to get in there before this happens.
Yeah, I know. I saw it yesterday and I instantly thought of you, and then you just did it today. It was weird.
I also love if you type PEW on an iPhone, it'll do this cool laser show.
Green little pew pew.
Yep. So check it out,
it's
folks.
Nice. I think people in bad beats, going back to that, like if you're down to 3 in a tournament, and you get bad beat and you're out in third, they just have a mentality like, well, it happened from this point. This is the worst possible outcome from the spot I've advanced.
Again, it's the gambler's mentality is all bad beat stories are about. It's the fact that you really only lost $1,650, but in your mind, you have conjured up this $4,000 loser. It's like we feel better about losing a bigger amount of money than we do about the actual money that we lost. Because in your mind, if you're thinking, I lost $4,000, but I only got to take $1,600 out of my pocket, I feel like I netted 26, whatever the difference, 2,400.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of gross.
It is. But I think it's because, people think that it's this big of swings because, like, if you're thinking logically, like, you do have that equity that you lost in the tournament. Like, if you have 33% of the chips in a 10K prize pool, like, you have 3,300, like, kind of like theoretically locked up.
Yeah, Brandon, don't make this a statistical thing. We're thinking general. Don't drag me into the ICM world because I don't want to be there. I don't.
But that's
I
how
prefer
people
to be
draw it up in their head.
I want to be ignorant and think that this
is
yeah. I mean, it makes me feel better. I sleep better at night, not worrying about how many ICM suicides I have accomplished in my lifetime.
See, I sleep at night knowing that I drove home from the casino on Monday and lost $2,300, but in theoretical dollars, I was up. So like the money in the air that I haven't, I really want money.
Up. That's great.
Eventually, the theoretical dollars will turn into real dollars. Hopefully.
Someday. Someday they
hopefully.
will. Someday they will.
I feel like they should have already, but
I feel like we've covered a pretty good amount of bad beat stories here.
We have.
I like it. So if you have any questions about bad beats, leave it in the comment section. Are there comment sections in podcasts?
I'm not really sure.
I don't think so. I'm so used to doing this on video.
Right, where there's a screen to like look at. And
well, check us out on Instagram at CCG Poker. Nope, that's our sponsor's Instagram. Check them out for sure. This is Ken signing off, saying farewell.
Is this wow?
Nah, I just stole your farewell.
Now, what am I going to do?
I don't know. This is the exact reason why I said it.
See, I don't know.
This is a bad beat in its own.
I'm out. This is awful.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.